What's up, guys? It's our wrestling podcast coming back at you with another episode. This is Dave Vicious along with Justin Total Package and Craig the British Bulldog, bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. Today's topic: what happened to Adrian Adonis? For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Or for video, check us out on YouTube at Our Wrestling Channel. And look to your left for several other video options, if you please. And, speaking of please give us a follow on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Hey, man. Adrian, I would argue, was ahead of his time. What say you?
Yes, and also he is kind of like slept on when it comes to good in-ring work. Like, he was very acrobatic in there for a big guy.
Oh, yeah.
And I only remember him from when I first started watching wrestling. It was really right at the tail end of his adorable Adrian Adonis persona. So he was the biggest like that he had been, and then he was in AWA for a bit after that, but you'll get into it. Yeah, like a lot of wrestlers now, when they talk about him, they're like, dude, he was one of like the best people I've ever been in there with. Like, he understood timing, and he was one of the ones who had a bigger frame and a bigger body, but knew how to use the momentum of that to his advantage.
Right.
And so he'd really, if you go back and watch a lot of his stuff, even from when he was adorable in the WWF, like he really has some good work. His footwork was excellent. He knew how to work in there with every different type of talent. So he's one of the people that we're not going to record it this time, but I also wrote a What Happened to King Kong Bundy, and it's two of the people, because I wrote the episodes at the same time, and I don't know why I was feeling both of them, going like they were really like kind of big deals in the 80s, and then sort of just faded out after that. There's really no room for them per se afterwards, but and there was demons and blah blah blah, like with Adonis and stuff, and but you're going to read too that his life came to an abrupt end, almost the way Sam Kinison died. The same thing, like. He was getting on the straight and narrow, and then something happened, but you're going to read it, so I don't want to bury the lead. But Adrian Adonis is somebody that you should go back and look at and enjoy. His work was really good.
I would argue people like The Genius probably took after him. A lot of people would take that chicken shit flamboyant heel. Would definitely look to Adrian for some kind of base and support with that. So, yeah, pretty good stuff. Adrian Adonis was born Keith Frank Jr. on September 15, 1953 in Buffalo, New York. He was of German and Irish descent, had a natural build for wrestling. He weighed over 200 pounds, even before his pro career. I don't know what that says. It sounds like he just liked pizza or something, but I don't know. He trained under Fred Atkins and broke into wrestling in 1974. Early in his career, he used the name Keith Franks and adopted a tough, no-nonsense persona. He would wrestle in several territories like Stampede, Pacific Northwest Wrestling. But in 1979, he found more prominence in Vern Gagney's promotion, American Wrestling Alliance, or AWA, one of the largest wrestling promotions in the U.S. at that time. He was paired with Jesse the Body Ventura, forming a tag team called the East-West Connection, named for Adonis being from the East Coast and Jesse from the West. I think they could have come up with a lot better names than that.
Continue.
Because, I can see Jesse the Body, and then Adrian, pretending to be the body.
West
and
Connection.
When he wasn't.
Well, and the thing here, too, is to remember that he wasn't as big as he was as adorable. He was always stocky, Adrian Adonis, but when he was like the street gimmick or whatever, like with Ventura, like the black leather jacket, he wasn't as big as he was as we know him as adorable yet. He hadn't gained.
Right.
He gained like an extra 60 or 70 pounds, like when he was adorable, Adrian Adonis.
Fantastic. Good for him.
You're the current tag team champions of the world, one of whom hails from down at San Diego, Jesse the Body Ventura, and his partner out of the Big Apple of New York City, the Golden Boy Adrian Adonis. Gentlemen, welcome to the Bay Area.
Oh, thank you very much. We got a few friends to say hello to. I like to say hello to Grace Slick, Marty Ballard of the Jefferson Airplane. I know they're going to accompany us down to dinner at Original Joe's, which we're going to have a meal of a lifetime, Daddy. And Jesse and myself, a lot of people, a lot of friends we know in the San Francisco area, and they're very happy to see us. And a couple weeks ago, I heard Ray Stevens and Pat Patterson out here giving us a so-called challenge. Well, they were back in the early 70s it. Well, this is 1980, and we are it now.
Even at an early stage, Adonis showed he was more than just a brawler. He could move quickly for his size. He had excellent timing, footwork. We talked about it earlier. Was very adaptable in the ring. Adonis joined the World Wrestling Federation in 1981, where he retained his biker-style character, at least for the moment. He was paired with Dick Murdoch, a grizzly Texan veteran. Their team was called the North-South... Jesus. The North-South Connection. Sometimes I just read
It was very
the
territorial,
South.
Dave. There was no like
That's not
creative
true.
names.
Yeah.
That's a lie.
Yeah, Murdoch was from the South, Adonis from the North, whatever.
A lie.
Whatever.
It's a lie.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. On April 17th of 84, they did win the WWF Tag Team Championships. They defeated Tony Atlas and Rocky Johnson. Yeah, we don't know who those guys are. That's pretty impressive, actually. They did lose those titles to the U.S. Express, which was Barry Windham and Mike Rotundo, ending a strong heel run. There's your Jeopardy question right there that nobody would ever be able to answer.
Yeah.
I didn't even know. I forget Barry Windham even won titles in the WWF.
Yeah, he was
barely there.
Yeah.
You know, that's crazy. In late of 85, Adonis made one of the most memorable and dramatic character shifts in WWF history. He traded in his leather and biker persona for the flamboyant and gender-bending, adorable Adrian Adonis gimmick. He sold the crap out of this.
He did, and I think it was a Dick Vince move. I think Vince was. This is what I've just heard. You know,
are you saying this is the Dusty Polka Dots moment for Adrian? Is that what you're telling me?
But Vince was very bothered because Vince was always into his body and shit like that. You know, even back in the early days before we knew the Mr. McMahon character. And he was very annoyed that Adrian Adonis was gaining weight and just didn't. Big. And he was probably hearing rumors about drug usage and shit like that, and just him not caring. So in a weird way, and I'm not condoning bully behavior, and I'm not condoning fat shaming, and I'm not condoning the way Vince would do stuff. But you got to figure this
Vince condoned it.
This is back in the 80s, and then people were just they were sort of following suit. Like look at Orndorff,
right.
Look at Hogan, look at Savage, look at Piper. They were doing what they needed to do or take what they needed to take to stay in it, and they all kind of didn't let themselves fall.
To get to the next show, to get to the next hotel.
Adonis is probably like, yeah, fuck weights, dude, and fuck gym. I'm just going to fucking get big and just eat and party and do whatever I want. And he still performed well in the ring, and but it bothered Vince. And so I heard, and I've listened on shoot interviews, I don't know, I wasn't there, that the whole Adrian Adonis was really a rib on him. Was just like, oh, you want to be unkempt and fat? Well, then I want you to be like this effeminate, gimmick as well, and you're gonna wear pink, and you're gonna skip around.
See Adrian going cool. That's
and Adrian's like, that's fine. And then you put Jimmy Hart with him. I'm like, is this supposed to be a punishment, or is this something that so? And then
it's like wrestling with a broomstick or with a mop and making.
Yeah, he wrestled at WrestleMania 2. He beat Uncle Elmer at WrestleMania 2 as adorable Adrian Adonis, and he was on TV for like 2 years as that persona-ish, almost 2 years. And you're going to get into it. Then he started feuding with Piper. I'm like, so are you making him feel bad? Because this is a pretty high profile feud.
So basically, sorry, go ahead, Greg.
No, I was just laughing at Jess.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's pretty funny. So Vince was, having Adrian commit to this role fully, gaining real heat. But they did give him a segment called The Flower Shop, which is a parody of Roddy Piper's Pit. Piper returned to injury to find his talk show had been replaced by Adonis' segment, which is kind of funny. And that led to the personal rivalry, Hart, Cowboy Bob Orton attacked Piper multiple times. Piper responded by trashing the flower shop with a baseball bat. That's still a moment that most people still remember as a high
I remembered
point.
that, and I wasn't a fan during that point because I didn't start watching wrestling until late 87, so it was after the WrestleMania 3 stuff. I remember all the videos of Piper trashing with the bat. And him beating the walls of the flower shop and all that stuff. That's just ingrained in my memory. It was just something that I remember as a fan back then in the 80s.
Right. And the feud culminated at WrestleMania 3. We talked about 93,000+ people. It was a hair versus hair match. Piper did defeat Adonis, and Brutus, the barber beefcake, who wasn't the barber yet, cut Adonis' hair.
He became barber that night.
That persona.
Adrian just nailed himself with those clippers. Look at that.
Oh my, I can't believe this. Adonis had the match won. He let go of the sleeper too soon.
Right in the middle of the ring, Roddy with the sleeper, and it's Adrian who's fading fast. Look at the lights are going out.
And Beefcake's chasing hard outside the ring.
Brutus Beefcake came out of nowhere.
That's it.
Adonis is asleep. The adorable one has been put out, and the victor, Roddy Piper.
Yeah, became it that night. Because he
that-
was supposed to be something else.
Not only because of the fucking ovation that Piper got, but like, yeah, Adonis was flipping all over the top rope, flipping over the top rope, falling really hard, like
selling the shit.
Jimmy Hart got in there. They were being thrown into each other constantly. It was just a simple match where Piper had to get his comeuppance and like just using the heel to throw in the heel manager and abuse them and everything. And it was it was really a great moment. And I remember like the sleeper at the end when Piper had him in it and the whole place was just going insane and shaking.
And then they hit him on the back of the head. He woke up and felt his hair and ran out of there.
He did the gimmick where he had the scissors and he tried to hit Piper with it. And then he hit the top rope and it bounced up and hit him in the face. Like the old classic gimmick.
He totally sold himself out to get Piper over there.
He punched the mirror. Like he punched him with his fucking fist.
Yeah.
You heard him go boom, like punch the mirror.
So good.
Adonis's bumps are incredible. Like,
yeah.
He was not afraid as a big dude, like whether he wearing pink tights or black, like he
wasn't afraid to bump.
That match in WrestleMania 3, he bumped the hell. Like he was incredible. That's why he was always a big man that could go and a big man that could bump.
Yeah.
He was so good.
Yeah. What's funny is that you have to wonder if the overselling was pissed Vince off because after WrestleMania 3, Adonis was actually released by Vince in the WWF.
It wasn't. I think that for some odd reason,
I don't know. I don't think it's overselling at all.
I think that Vince was just really like basically just trying to drain the clock. Yeah, he put him in there with Piper, which isn't a punishment, but he was just like, yeah, I'm going to make you look ridiculous, like all because like what I've gathered from, news articles and shoot interviews was that Vince was really annoyed that he was just letting himself go and he wouldn't take it serious. And again, we're in a theatrical kind of area here. I don't know if Vince is such a bad guy for that. I mean, I think maybe Vince was just like, look, dude, like, we could say that too, because like he was, knowingly letting his talent take steroids and killing themselves in a totally different way. But I mean, like, Vince was just sort of like, dude, like, you're like prominent on television and you look bad, like you just don't look good. Right. And then so I'm going to give you something to give you an excuse to look bad, which is this shitty gimmick of you being very feminine and skipping around the ring and talking about flowers. And then he before Rick Martel came down with it, he came down with that the pump fragrance thing, and I think he just called it fragrance. Like I think it's all he called it. So he had
Essence.
Yeah. And then he sprayed Piper with it and stuff like that. And he would use it before Rick the Model, like used arrogance, like he used essence. Like, so it was like,
oh my God,
this
arrogance,
whole thing. Yeah. This whole thing of like, he was sort of like this, not model character, but just this guy who was super into himself and feminine and, like kind of embraced it. And we talked about it a little before we hit record too. They were, people were chanting the F word at him, like at house shows and stuff like that, because again, this is the fucking 80s and they didn't know better. And like, it was just sort of like, that was being
even if they did,
they would still do it in some states for sure, and even today they would still do it. All I'm saying
is like this smells of dusty all around because Vince did not like people that were not just like looked like the Ultimate Warrior, looked like Hogan. Didn't like those people. He's like, get off my TV. It's like, dude, you need these people. Like, what's funny is like if they were a heel, that was fine. Like Earthquake was fine, Yokozuna was fine. Like I don't understand. Like why do you? It's like you look at Adrian and you just like you see something you don't like. I don't understand it because like letting this guy go at this moment seems silly to me with the talent base. You let him cool off for a couple of months and he can come put somebody else over. I don't know. It seems crazy.
Yeah.
Look at him. Adorable Adrian Adonis.
Adonis, lots of individuals here, I think. Lots of us are laughing. Look at him. He is something.
Well,
oh, what a haircut.
Adonis may have his haircut, but I'll bet you he's still just as devastating, probably meaner than ever in the ring.
We're going to find out shortly. Adonis had some of his hair cut off.
I don't think he's Samson, I don't think cutting his hair is going to zap his strength at all.
I don't get it, but yeah, I mean, I understand where you're coming from too. He had a lot of talent.
Because Bundy was huge, Andre was huge, so Vince was fine. One Man Gang was huge, and so he was like, "That's fine."
Yeah,
like,
but all those guys are like 6'3", 6'5".
Yeah, those guys
Adonis
are just big. Right? Adonis was like this smaller frame guy, and then he was just getting so big on the top half, and Vince was like, "Dude, like." Are you going to ever call it? Are you going to stop this shit or what? And so I'm not saying it was right to be that kind of a bully or fat shaming or whatever. I'm just saying like you're in a performance business and you're in a cosmetic
I
business
get it.
where you have to look good.
I just think he didn't. I feel like sometimes Vince gets that, and it tunnel visions him. He doesn't see. The
no,
whole
I
picture.
think you're
Same
totally.
with
I
Dusty.
think you're totally right with that, and I think also too it was the ending of all the territories back in the time too. So like Vince didn't want the
Right.
beer gutted Crushers and Dick Murdochs and all
wanted
that
every.
stuff.
He wanted every like.
He's like, dude,
every big.
we're in the era of
dude.
superheroes here in 1986, 87. So like if you're not going to be in shape and look like them, then I'm going to give you the most ridiculous kind of over the top character I could possibly give you. And of course, Adonis was so mega talented, he rode with it. Like he went with it.
Right. Yeah. He would briefly return to the AWA in 1988, and he would tour Japan. But unfortunately, Adonis was traveling in Newfoundland, Canada, with other wrestlers, including Dave McKigney and Mike Kelly, en route to a show. Their van swerved to avoid a moose and crashed into a lake. He was only 34 years old. He died right there. Others in the van also died in the accident. The tragedy had shocked the wrestling world. I would argue, some people might say, and this sounds really stupid and trivial, but you should have hit the moose. If you hit the moose, you would have died too. You see how big those fucking things are. You would, you had to swerve. So, crazy story. We were traveling. We were just going up the Ortegas in a car with my dad, and a deer jumped out and he slammed on the brakes. And he looked at me and my brother. He's like, "That ever happens? Don't swerve because you can go over the edge or hit another car on these curves. Just fucking hit it. Just hit it. It's just a deer. It won't kill you. But a moose, shit, it's bigger than a car, man. It's like, it's like if you hit that thing, it would be like hitting another car head on, and you probably.
And what I kind of clipped from the notes, and the reason why I equated him to Sam Kinison was Sam Kinison, if people don't know, was a very famous comedian. Sam Kinison was known to a lot of people as like a genius and like a guy who was legitly. He used to be a preacher, but he was very much into drugs, very much into alcohol, and. At the end, he got sober, met a woman, got married to her, and he fucking died in a car accident when he was sober and hit by a
truck. And he even jokingly predicted like 6 months earlier. He's like, I found all this stuff. I'm probably going to die in a car wreck.
And I do believe the driver that hit him was drunk, if I'm not mistaken. Like, so it was like Adrian was the same way. I clipped out of the notes too that he actually dieted. He lost like 50 pounds. Like he was trying to get back into it and like kind of figure his life out or whatever. And then he fucking dies in a car crash, like on the way to a show. And
it's tragic.
Yeah, it is really tragic, and it's so easy to forget about Adrian Adonis. And I kind of, when I did this, I was like, what topics do I want to do? I don't know what I was watching. Oh, there's this channel on YouTube called Wrestling Lore, and I'm pretty sure it's done with AI. Like, because the narrator's like he pronounces the name like Sheik, like instead of Iron Sheik or whatever. So I think it's somebody that just does AI or whatever and lets AI cut the clips for them. But they've been around for a bit. This channel's been around for a bit. It's called Wrestling Lore, I'm pretty sure. And they do like little 10-minute, 15-minute like clips on certain wrestlers like Greg Valentine and Adrian Adonis and King Kong Bundy. And I was like, God, I think I've been wanting to talk about Adrian Adonis for a while. And so I just went and I did the topic for this week, and I was like, I'm going to do Adrian Adonis because nobody really knows who he is anymore, and he's sort of forgotten in a weird way. Like, he's just I don't believe he's in the Hall of Fame. I should have probably looked that up before, but I'm pretty sure he's not in the Hall of Fame.
That's a good
and I'm almost positive he's not because I would remember, I think, if somebody put him in. And if it was before Piper died, Piper would have absolutely 100% put him in, or Jimmy Hart would have put him in or whatever, but I'm pretty sure he's not in the Hall of Fame. And I find that really peculiar that he's not in the Hall of Fame, considering that some other people are in the Hall of Fame. And Adrian Adonis was part of the 80s wrestling boom, so I'm not really sure why he would not be. And he's probably going to be inducted later. It's harder when people pass, and they've been passed for a while because they're not really relevant. And unless you're doing like best of DVDs or best of features on the network and stuff, it's easy to forget about Adrian Adonis and his contribution to pro wrestling.
Yeah, as of not in the Hall of Fame, number 30, Adrian Adonis is posted May 25th of this year. So, yeah, hasn't happened.
So that's a shame. And I think Adonis should be in the Hall of Fame. And, he had like a big part in this, and especially in the 80s. I mean, it's arguably, not arguably, it's one of the biggest wrestling boom periods ever.
Who inducts him? That's the question.
Now, probably Jimmy Hart now, because Piper's gone. Ventura, maybe, since Ventura's been kind of marched out there for Saturday Night's Main Event if it happens soon, like, because Ventura was his partner for a while. Good. So I would say Jimmy Hart or Ventura, like, in the current age.
I like it.
But yeah, Adrian Adonis is somebody you haven't heard about. So I guarantee you a lot of wrestling fans today have not heard about Adrian Adonis. So,
But a lot of wrestlers sure have, and they've molded their careers after him, especially We talked about the chicken shit flamboyant heels. Adrian, I don't want to say he invented it, but he definitely recreated it.
I would say that, the model, like using that, I can't say that when they were brainstorming, they didn't say like, well, Adonis used to carry like the little perfume sprayer. You should too. And, or it's like the things that they're carrying. I don't know what it's called.
That revitalized Rick Martel. Like he had nothing, after Strikeforce and all that, there was nothing for him to do. And it's a former AWA champion. Like,
yeah. And then
the model, it kept him around for years, And
then also like, it was kind of, Gorgeous George was sort of before. It was sort of a take on Gorgeous George's character, the way that the adorable Adrian Adonis did. And there's a couple of the flamboyant people. Flair was even like that to a certain extent. And then later on, Goldust in a way, like I kind of equate because Goldust was very over the top and.
There's always someone to do it first, but then somebody has to carry on the story and the torch. And Adrian did a great job of carrying that on. And lots of people, like I said, the genius, the model. You said Flair, like Flair was kind of involved around the same time, but there are people. I would even argue, like a lot of our heels today. Like you don't think Seth Rollins doesn't take a playbook out of Adonis' stuff with the wardrobe and all that kind of stuff. I mean, he's definitely more of a man's man with it, but. That guy comes down in super space boots. Like you couldn't do that without Adrian, helping to pave that road map a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's very interesting. I would love to see that, him put into the Hall of Fame today, and to see kind of like today's stars talk about, if they even know him or like what they. Oh yeah, well, I remember him or whatever. Everybody's gonna remember his feud with Piper.
100%.
Yeah.
For audio fans, give us a listen on Apple, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, or watch our videos on YouTube at our wrestling channel, and look to the left for some other options for you to watch. And please give us a follow on Instagram at O.W.P.
No.
Jess will give you a big fat kiss. For the O.W.P., this is Just Dave and Craig signing off. Have a good one.